We've got a great question here. The essence of the question was, I just don't know when to determine that a path isn't meant for me. I'll give you a story in a nutshell, Matt. He said, I was working, I believe in this instance, it was a technology type of a job. I'd held that job for like 6 years. I had started part-time at a church, and the church came and said, we would love you to come and do this for us full-time. And I wanted to be in ministry. I felt God was calling me into ministry. I took the job, and as soon as I took the job, everything changed. All the expectations that they had for me changed. Everything they'd promised me changed. And it ended badly in less than a year. So now I'm kind of stuck, and I'm second guessing kind of this whole call to ministry. And Matt, we get this question quite a lot with unfulfilled expectations, or a lot of times a candidate will feel, and quite honestly, a church will feel like a candidate will do a bait and switch. So how do you answer somebody that says, man, I'm so confused. I've lost my bearings, and I'm just not sure if this church thing is really what God's called me to?
I typically say, hey, have you met Todd? That's where I start. Now, I think a lot of it is, I don't want to be over spiritual in this, but I think a lot of it is prayer. I think a lot of it is kind of searching out what is God saying through this process. From a more practical standpoint, I think one of the things that I have found most helpful is a book by a guy named Wade Hodges. He's a pastor at a church. He wrote a book called When to Leave, how to know it's time to move on before you stay way too long. But I found that to be really helpful as just kind of giving you some things to be thinking through, give you some questions to be able to ask yourself, to ask a spouse, ask your family, ask your mentors, the people that are really walking through this with you. One of the things that I heard early on in seminary is, probably about 3 years before anybody else when it's time to go. And I think when you start having some of these questions about, I don't know that this necessarily is a good fit, I think that's a great time to start really wrestling through, is it time for me to move on? So the best advice I can really give is check out Wade Hodges' book and start with those questions. What would you say, Todd?
Well, I agree with you. I think a lot of prayer, lots and lots of prayer, lots and lots of soul searching. So if you have a bad experience, I think one of the best things you can do is talk with your spouse and your friends and your colleagues and kind of fess up to anything that maybe you contributed to that not going well. Very seldom is it 100% on the church, and very seldom is it 100% on you as an employee either. But you have to really kind of do a self-assessment and see if there were some things maybe that you should do differently in your next role. And then the second thing I would say, Matt, is sometimes you lose your perspective when you have a situation like this. So it's really important to get some of those other people to kind of speak into your life and say, help me understand this here. Where do you see my calling? And that, along coupled with the prayer, I think many times will help you. And like you said, sometimes it's better to be proactive rather than reactive. I think a lot of times we know there needs to be a change, but we're unwilling to make the change because we just drag our feet and just hope for the best that it's going to work out, and sometimes it doesn't. In this person's situation, they didn't really have a whole lot of time for this to happen, but that would be my biggest advice. Hey, Todd Rhodes here from ChemistryStaffing.com. Thanks so much for listening to this short Q&A with myself and Chemistry Staffing's Matt Steen. Hey, we want to help you however we can during your church job search. So a couple of different things that I wanted to offer you today. First of all, if you'd like to set up your free church staff profile, it's totally confidential. You can upload your resume and kind of put yourself on our radar for any new church jobs and churches that we're working with trying to fill. Either currently or in the future. You can do that. It's really easy, totally free, and again, totally confidential. You can do that at chemistrystaffing.com/profile. And if you have any questions about your search, or you just want to contact Matt or myself, you can actually email me at todd.rhodes, that's RHOADES, todd.rhodes@chemistrystaffing.com. We'd be happy to help you during your search however we can, and look forward to serving you.